Hello everyone and welcome to another episode in Dwellers of the Dark. And today we have our commission painter, Aaron, and we're going to be looking at not painting. What are we going to be looking at today, Aaron?
We're going to be having a look at the latest release from Games Workshop.
Hobbit stuff?
Nope.
Not Hobbit stuff?
It's going to be Warhammer 40,000 and it's going to be the new Codex Gene Stealer cults.
Wow! Hang on. So, guys, I've got 20 years of experience.
Missing.
Yeah, 20 years missing experience of 40k. It's like 20 years ago that I was into 40k in any manner. So that might have been, what, edition 2 or 3 or something?
You're probably looking 3, maybe bordering 4th.
I'm just trying to think what was in the box set when we were selling it. I have no idea. But now, what edition are we on now?
7th edition now, so we're looking at a good 3 to 4 editions ago. So it'll be interesting, and to be honest, when you were last in there, that's when the Gene Stealer cults were originally there. They've been missing for this length of time.
Oh, so I've come back at the right time. Right.
So, yes.
So listen, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at the new release from GW, the Gene Stealer Cult book, the Codex. Nice hardback version. We're also going to take a quick look-see at the painting guides that also has been brought out just for the Gene Stealer cults. And on top of that, we have the unboxing of the Acolyte hybrids. Okay, sorry about the shine there on these. Whoa, moving that across the screen. And on the upside then, we're going to be looking at the unboxing of these guys. And I'm going to have to turn the box around to figure out what they're called. They're called the Neophyte hybrids. Okay, so I'm a strange person to be doing an unboxing or review because I have no idea about the rules. In fact, my knowledge, as I said, is 20 years old. And that might even long forgotten in my poor brain. So a lot of the questions I'm going to be asking are going to be noobish type questions. And one of the things we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a tutorial video on how to play. So for beginners to get into it. But
that'll be an interesting
40k
game.
has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of people have gotten into it, but a lot of people have gotten out of it as well. And why is that, Aaron?
Well, it's an unfortunate situation that 40k as a whole has become quite cumbersome. In regards to its rule sizing, how the structure of the game works now. To put it in a basic sense, if you wish to play it now, not only will you need the basic rulebook, you'll also need your own codex. You'll also need other supplements on top of those codexes.
Okay.
So you can see the money mounting.
Well, but it's money well spent, and I don't mean that it's Games Workshop as a charity. It's money that you're giving to Games Workshop so they can produce increase quality, and increase supply. Because if we don't support our hobbies across the board, we can't get the manufacturers and the writers and everyone kept in a position where they can profit from it. Profit's fine.
Yeah.
But
it's a business at the end of the day, isn't it?
Stuff. So yeah, I can appreciate armies. Now I've just bought myself a Space Wolf army.
Yes.
And I've got that for between 60 and 80 quid, and I think we're looking at around 1,000 points.
Yes, we're looking at, for yours, you're looking about 1,000 to 1,200 points that you've managed to be able to get through, obviously, sale sites and everything, so it's great.
But you see, that's only because I prefer the metal. I'm a metal man. Right, but that's my choice. But at the end of the day, all of these models are freely available through GW and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But rather than harping on about that, let us ask some simple questions. I've got 1,000 to 1,200 point force. You mentioned to me outside of this conversation, you mentioned the 3 aspects to army sizes.
Yes.
And one of the ones is you mentioned tournament.
Tournament competitive,
yeah. And how many points is that approximately?
Depending on the tournament, it's usually between 1,750 points
or
1,850 points.
Okay. How many models is that?
Looking at, depending on which army you're going for, Space Wolves, for example, you're probably looking around about 40 models. If you're putting in really heavy stuff like tanks, a little bit less.
Yeah, okay, that's comparable with other game systems. Okay, so yeah, I can see you could still set up an army nonetheless for around £100 then.
Yes, you can. On the newer model stuff, probably not.
Okay.
If you go second hand, through auction sites, probably can easily pick it up very, very simply. Could even be cheaper.
Right. And the rulebooks, well, you only need one rulebook between two people.
Yes, you do.
Right.
Yes, you do.
But
you'll be flicking through it a lot. Yes, you will.
But the main thing is you're looking at the codexes, and hence we're on to this codex. So now you mentioned.
Very excited about this one.
Well, this is because this is your army, isn't
it? Yeah. Well, it's part of my army in a sense. It's kind of like the other half, the sinister half, rather than the monstrous half.
So to kind of go backwards in time, the start of this video should have started with this is a review of the Codex, but this is more of a noobish review because you're going to explain to me what this is all about. Okay, so we mentioned it's hardback.
Yes.
Value for money, I think we're retailing £30 or so.
£30, yep. £30 from Games Workshop. If you're lucky to have a local that sells it a little bit cheaper, good on you to get that in. You're looking at about £25 if that's the case.
Okay.
And it's well worth the price. It's typical of Games Workshop in the last couple of editions. These really, hardened hardback covers, very glossy, incredible photographs throughout it, great artwork, and the actual paper itself that they use is it's got a nice sheen to it as well, so it's quite thick. So it looks like they've used really high quality material to do it. So, and for an A4 book, it's not that bad in comparison to what there is out there. And for 120 odd pages as well, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, it's good. It's a solid book. Right. So you've read it. You've been looking forward to this a lot. Do you want to give us a 10-second rundown of the difference between a Gene Stealer cult and the Tyranids themselves?
The Gene Stealer cult is basically something that's within the Imperium or within the Tau Empire or anything along those lines. They start off with the Gene Stealers themselves.
Right.
They infiltrate into the planets. Okay. Infest the planet by hypnotizing sort of people of that particular planet, and they implant them with their own DNA.
I got you, yeah.
Alright, that DNA then corrupts that person, making them subservient to the Gene Stealer, and also makes them create these horrible, monstrous hybrids, but they see them as beautiful babies and will protect them.
Okay, yeah. It's like the cuckoo syndrome.
Kind of, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's very, very much along those lines. The obviously, as the generations are created, there are 4. The more human they look, or more Tau they look, or more Orc they look. Right. And which means they can embed themselves into the societies far, far better. Thus the idea of them being so insidious, so behind the scenes, in the shadows.
Game-wise, though, what's the difference between these and the Tyranids?
The Tyranids are a force that is more about hitting hard and quick.
Okay.
And they will infect a planet rather than be part of it for generations, hiding in the scenes like these guys do.
Okay.
And these will be doing it for hundreds of years before they decide to attack. And these guys, they come from inside. So if you could imagine a tabletop game, and then all of a sudden you set up your army, you're the opponents to these guys, and these guys are within 6 inches of you straight away in turn 1. It's virtually unheard of. Now, a board is normally 6x4, and you usually deploy yourselves, depending on which one you do, within 12 inches of your board side.
Oh, right. Okay.
So these guys can actually deploy in your own side because of a special rule that they have, making them very, very dangerous. And yes, the special rule is known as the the Cult Ambush. Now it's random.
Okay.
In regards to it, 6 choices in respect to it, and if you roll a 6, they're pretty. It can be pretty bad. They can actually set up within 3 inches of you, and also charge you in first turn, which you can't do in 40k normally.
Oh wow!
As well as shoot you. So it's pretty. They are quite cool in that respect. Very fluffy in that respect as well. It gives you an idea of their story.
Okay.
Of basically being literally inside the society at the from the beginning.
Okay, so glancing through, and as always, there's some awesome fluff material provided by GW. I've got to say that the fluff for 40k has, in my mind, excelled well above the fluff for Fantasy Battle when I was involved with that.
Yes, they do seem to put a lot of heart and soul into it, and this one in particular has been written by Phil Kelly, who is, to Tyranny players out there, he is like the Messiah.
The patriarch.
Yes, in essence, yes. Because he truly understood the whole concept of the Tyranid race. Okay. And so he was really the best person to do this.
So I'm flicking through, we've got Parasitic Order, then we're into Cult War. We're still on the fluff.
Oh, yes.
And I'm into page 25 already. Again, this is synonymous with GW.
You're starting to look into sort of like what the units are, and is telling you all about the story of those particular units, how they work.
Okay. Again, I'm looking at page 42, and we're into the first aspects of painting and little hints on what different colours might be or might not. Again, very comparable to the Fantasy Battle army books. Okay, so at least I have some knowledge of that. And then we're getting to the Grand Uprising. Loads of fantastic photographs. Yeah. Loads and loads.
Yeah. It's a typical structure.
Pages and pages, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's lots of pages as well. It's 4 to 6 pages of it. And that's double-sided pages as well, of photographs of little battles that they've done, and then they've done sort of like showing you the heavy metal sort of superior sort of paint jobs in there as well.
Just awesome.
And then by the time you hit around about page 65, that's when you start looking at the rules. Okay. In regards to it, so that's a good.
So 104, 106 pages.
So you're
we're looking at just over half is fluff and painting related. That's not bad. That's not bad. No. That'll keep you occupied. Oh, yeah. That will keep any Gene Stealer cult fanatic fantasizing. Okay, so Forces of Gene Stealer cults, as you said, we're looking at bits and pieces, and I'm on to page 69, and it's when I first see some points. So as someone who'd like to get my army straight on the table, this is what I'm kind of looking at. And we're looking at the war gear list here. Okay, we're not going to list out any points here. We're not going to cover any of the detailed stuff. We are just going to review the book.
And my only gripe really with the 7th edition books more than anything is part of its layout. In 6th edition, as I'm sure you'll remember in Warhammer Fantasy edition as well, when you got to the stage where you're looking at the heroes and all that kind of stuff with fantasy, you start getting all the points, and they're all usually on the one page for each, depending on the special characters and stuff like that. In this, they're all on separate pages, which is it's a new format that GW have done for 7th edition, and I have to admit, it kind of irks me a bit. And the reason behind it is because it makes it more difficult to work out what you want to do in an army, especially if you're going old school with paper. Because you're having to look at the Patriarch on one page, the Magus on another page, the Primus, which is another HQ choice, on another page, and you've got to try. You're flicking through the pages all the time.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. I'm sorry, but I'm new to this game, or newbie-ish to this game. I'm looking at the Patriarch is there, and the points values for options are beneath them. I'm going to ask, is that everything for the Patriarch? You can't add anything else?
No, that's it.
So basically, my points for my Patriarch are one page, and I can then flick through and pick other things. Yeah. The gripe you have is that because of
the way it's done, what you'll find is, if obviously it's 20, you'll see that on the top of each one of these is a photograph of that particular unit.
Yes.
All right, which we already have previous with those 6 to 8 pages worth.
Okay.
So we don't need them, and it takes up half the page with a lot of them. And so really, all you're looking at is the bottom part of the page for the points and the stats for it.
Okay.
Which for me, it seems a waste.
But that's because you're an experienced 40k player. You look at the main pages in the centre, which we're giving the quick glimpses, and you can say, well, that's this, that's this, that's this.
Yes.
And I'm looking at it and I'm going, I haven't even got a clue what he is or that vehicle.
Whereas if you turn it a little bit further, and it tells you what each one is.
Okay.
See?
Okay. But
So,
what I'd then argue, this is turning into an argument, I like this. What I'd argue is I have to flick to this page to see what these are. And that, for me, would be ridiculous to have to flick back to a heavy metal page when in fact I have all the pictures, and I'm going to cover up the points because I don't want to be shown, but you can see the pictures there with the stats and everything just underneath it. So to me that's very easy as a new person.
in a sense,
New
yes,
versus
you can.
old.
You see, I can see where you're coming from, but the difference is by the time you're looking at these anyway, you should already know the names of them because they're on the name of the box on the actual thing, so you know what they are.
Okay.
And really, all you're looking for are just the stats and the points for those particular units.
So
and
are
what's needed.
you edging towards saying that you're paying more for a book that has less relevant content?
It's not that it has less relevant content. It's
Loves
more.
GW, by the way.
It's more a case of. I find that it could have been less pages, and in that sense, if you look back at the old editions, as I did mention before, in regards to Warhammer Fantasy and stuff like that, they had a format already in place, and that format was perfect. It was perfectly fine. There was no need to change it, and yet they felt the need to do so for 7th edition, and nobody can figure out why. And I must admit, it is a bit of a debate when it comes to the 40,000 forums in regards to the format for the codexes themselves. Some love it, others less so. It's a bit of a Marmite thing, really.
Right.
And for me, I'm on the other side of, nah, I'm not a big fan of it. You know, I get it for the formations in there, which we'll talk about later, but for me, I don't like this new format. I don't think it works very well. I think it's long-winded, and I find it a little bit cumbersome, to be fair. And as a result of that, it means that you're literally looking at other ways of doing it. So if you are an old school person wanting to do it on paper, this is a lot more tricky.
I am old school, but I think I'm so old school before your time, which is a strange thing. Okay. What I'm trying to say here is that for someone who's never picked up a codex of this format in over 20 years, this to me looks very easy to figure out.
Yeah.
What I would say is that I hark back to one of the ages in fantasy where you had the models and you had the various points for them, but then you had to flick back to another book, or another page, should I say, to see what the points for various war gears were.
That's still the same with this night.
Okay.
Because as you saw before, there was a war gear page,
Right.
but it's only for specific units, which is a good thing.
Okay.
That's actually a good thing.
Now, I'm going to tie in with saying I can see how this would be easy for me, annoying for you.
Yeah.
And after a while, when I get further into the game and into the system and into understanding the others, this sort of thing would be difficult. But what about this sort of thing rather than being in a book? These single pages were single pages in a PDF. Would this be, do you believe that this may have been formatted to work directly into a PDF as well? I think
that's the purpose. That it's basically a PDF design. And I believe that is the purpose, because obviously GW do the digital codexes now, GW Warbooks now, for Age of Sigmar, for example, and it is definitely that kind of format. And I get it, I understand that, but for me, because obviously, and I think it's probably more to the fact that, it's new. Okay. I'm used to the old system, so this I find awkward.
Okay. See, here's something this goes totally against everything. This goes against any religion aspects I could have towards books. I love books. But when I look at these pages, though it goes against my nature, this screams out to me, cut me out and put each of the pages for each of the units into a little folder binder. That's what this screams out to me. I could never do it, but this is what it screams out, because this would be the physical version of a PDF.
It is basically a physical version of it, and I do believe that this new format, and I think if you're looking at it from a PDF perspective, and that's where a lot of things are going these days, especially with the tablets and stuff that are out there, that it's easy for people just to have a tablet going into a game.
Oh God,
and they can just flick through quite comfortably. A book may seem more weight than necessary.
Well, in fantasy, there was like 15 different books.
Yes.
I would imagine it's similar in 40k.
Oh yeah, it's very similar.
So a PDF version for a tournament organizer.
For a tournament makes total sense.
Exactly.
And to be honest, even for just pickup games, it makes sense. Because if you've got them all on one simple device, and
but at the same time, if you do a PDF, and I know that there are illegal PDFs out there for various things, always make sure you have a hard copy, because you want to support. You want to support GW.
Yeah.
You want to support any company that brings out systems for games, because if we don't, bye. So,
but the other good thing about these is the fact that you've got it in your hand, and it's not that it's. I suppose in a sense I am a bit.
And the PDF lovers, the new people would say, "Don't want the book, we want the digital." So that's the Marmite aspect.
Yes, but the thing is, a book doesn't crash.
No, but it burns.
It does burn. Yes,
and you've got the cloud up there, and clouds drop rain, and rain can destroy even the best.
Yes.
So listen, we're straight on to the appendix. We're on page 96 now, and we're looking at the appendices. We're looking at Cult Ambush, we're looking at War Gear of the Cults.
Yeah, that's all the statistics for it at the bottom.
Sacred Relics of the Cult. Yeah. That's definitely a 40k thing. Everyone has a sacred relic, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a new thing actually for the Tyranid aspect of things. But yes, they do now. All the armies seem to have them now.
So, wow, fantastic book.
Yes.
Get it, guys. Good to have in your arsenal. Definitely a new sort of an army out there. Kind of reminds me a bit of Imperial Guard-ish when I look at it.
There are aspects of it in there, actually.
There are aspects. Let's look at this. We're looking at the Sentinels, the Chimeras, the Goliath Trox.
They're brand new to the actual...
Lehman Russes.
Lehman Russes and Imperial Guard, yes.
Yeah. So, there's quite a few.
I should correct. Astra Militarum, as they're called now.
Straight over my head. Okay, so we're going to crack on now. We're going to crack on now to the Gene Stealer Cult painting guide. Hope the shine doesn't kill that, guys. But
yes.
Again, my first time looking at this.
Incredibly cheap, to be honest. Very, very well done for GW for this one. Some great techniques in there. Being able to paint up for one of their main cults, which is the Rusted Claw.
Okay. You have a Rusted Claw there? Can we have one of those?
These are some kind of hybrided off version of them. This is called Hydrak, apparently.
They don't even have... Oh, hang on. Let's get close into the hand test. They don't even have heads.
Or guns.
Or guns. Because he's partially painting these up. Right, okay. Check out our painting vids on the Hobbit stuff, and we're going to be moving that on to other things like Space Wolves.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Okay, so no, let's crack on here.
Yeah.
We're looking at shading, dry brushing, layering,
all the
techniques
here, guys. For it.
And then you go on to weapons and metamorphs, light flesh, dark flesh, and then it actually goes on to the actual or the patriarch, should I say? Yes. Patriarch.
And then goes into some of the actual cults that are known through the Imperium, and what colour scheme they are, and it gives you a basic idea of how to do the colours. What's interesting about this, actually, it was a small box I saw, which I think will probably annoy some painters out there a little bit, was around the colour schemes for the skin for hybrids, where it states here that the colours used in this book for the characters, the violet hue, flash, brain, livid tongue, and shared by all of the Genestealer cults.
Ooh.
Now,
well, that's strong.
The thing about Tyranid players out there who are going to be likely to be the main buyers of this, apart from obviously new players are going, wicked, Genestealer cults, let's go for that.
Yeah.
They're going to find that a little bit of a kick in the nether regions.
But something you said to me when you said you were painting up your own Genestealers and Tyranids was that nobody knows how the light works off their skin and carapaces. But surely, if you go and look at... This is another argument here we go. Oh dear. If you go and look at all of the heavy metal paint work on it, and you look at how they have dictated how the light shines off the skin and
they're using it obviously from a human logic
perspective. They are using it because they developed and they built up the idea. Well, let's not move on. Let's drop that one.
We'll drop that one, right? Because there's a bit of a thing about that one. So
I've opened up a can of worms. Right, watch the punch up at 4:30 live on here. Joke. Next thing is, one thing I do like is at the very back of the book. And we talked about the different cults.
Yes.
At the very back of the book, they have a full... You can't really see that, and I won't spend too much time, but they have a full listing of all the paint pots that you should use, the favourite paint combinations.
These are the favourite paint combinations, and these are the ones that they tend to use for some of the cults in this, specifically for the Rusted Claw, because that's the main one they're using.
So they've got brass, purple skin, carapace, silver, blacks and reds, and all the various paints, which for someone, because... Games Workshop paint range, and we'll go into that another day, is getting very, very big. I went in to buy one paint. I think it was, what's that metal one that we use?
Oh, Lead Belcher. Yes.
And I didn't even know where to look for it.
I know.
Layer, base.
It's class as a base, I believe.
It is.
Yes. There's two different layer ones as well now as well. It's just
we'll talk about paints another time.
Yes.
But that book, really good.
£6. I mean,
not bad.
That's amazing, especially if it gives you all hints, tips, how to consider everything. Brilliant bargain.
Now, I have in my hand the Warhammer 40k data cards for the Genestealer cults as well. Kind of a nice purplish box, and it's full of cards.
Yes.
And I already opened this up and dropped some on the ground in his face. And I don't blame you, because when I exit the box, we actually have large cards on the top,
which are the psychic powers,
and we have small tiny cards on the bottom which fall everywhere.
The tactical objective cards.
Right, and that's scary because they would fall on the ground anyway, so it wasn't my fault.
No.
So, what's this all about?
Okay, well, the tactical objective cards, which is a new aspect to those are the psychic ones. The new tactical objective cards are a new aspect to 7th edition, where instead of going all out, guns blazing at one another and seeing who can table who, it's all about tactics. And each card gives you points.
Okay.
And you have 6 objectives on the board, and you get points for capturing them if you have that particular card at the time.
Right.
But there are also special cards in there as well. And the Genestealer cult has, I think, 8 cards specific to them. So certain cards have been taken out of the generic objective cards and replaced with these new ones. Okay. And they're very sort of in line with the story of who they are, and what they do.
Right.
The psychic cards is a brand new psychic power system, which is known as the Brood King.
Okay.
And they are some seriously good spells in that one, to be honest, which range from different levels, which again very similar to the spell system in Warhammer, I believe.
Yes, at least it was when I was involved in
Warhammer. Yeah, they brought that across when, especially when Warhammer decided to change to Age of Sigmar.
Ah, yes.
And of course it's still an Age of Sigmar as well.
Okay, we're going to move forward. I want to open this box. Can I open this box?
Yes, open it.
Yay, it's got... Oh, I remember you told me about this. It's got a tab.
Nice little cute little tab.
And it's got a symbol on the tab. Wow. Yes. So what's this symbol all about?
It's basically, that is one of the Genestealer cult symbols. Can't remember which one it is actually. It's actually in the how to paint, and it should give you an idea of which symbol that belongs to.
That's a nice little detail. Yeah.
It's a lovely little thing, and I thought it was quite interesting and quite nice to do. And I believe they've started doing it to quite a lot of them.
Okay,
well.
So for starters, we have a book, and it's a
how
black
to
and
build.
white book, so it's definitely not a painting book.
No.
But yes, it is a book of, how many pages is it? Like 15-page booklet on how to put your model together.
Yeah.
So that's rather interesting.
Yeah, lots and lots of different parts.
Yeah, I can see that some weapons have to go with certain models and stuff. So that's cool.
What I do like about this, which is an interesting part that they've been recently doing, is this little bit here. They've got the rules and points for that particular unit.
Oh, excellent.
Now, there's a reason behind this, and the reason is because of a new game that they brought out, the Kill Team.
Right.
So you only need 1, maybe 2 boxes of these, and you've got your army.
Ah, to play another system.
Which is a 40k system.
Yes.
Again, but it's for really, really small units. So you're probably only going to be playing about 20 models at most.
Right.
You see, so it's really, really quite cool.
Okay, we have the obligatory stands.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got 2 large ones, or 2 relatively big ones. And we've got 2 very, very small ones. 28 mils, yeah?
25s and 32s.
Right.
The 32s are for specific weapons.
Look at the detail. Look at the amount.
There's a lot going on those.
So how many models?
It's only 10 models in this, and yet if you actually count the amount of heads you've got there.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And on the other side.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15, and do we have any here? 16, 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of heads there. Okay, so the heads are slightly different because we've got humanoid, we've got armoured and face-covered ones here. I don't know if you can see that in the top 2 there. Let me just get a bit closer, guys, and do the old hand test again. So there we go, quite an array of heads. And we also have the Genestealer heads. There, excellent. Wow, so you get quite a lot of options in this.
Yes, you do. It pretty much has got everything in there that you could ever want. It's got a standard bearer, which gives you special abilities.
Right.
Apparently must-haves in these units. Because it gives you certain things, like +1 attack, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Which is fantastic. You've got heavy weapons, you've got basic weapons, close combat weapons, shotguns, which, believe me, as Imperial Guard players will be going, goody, 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 goody. Because
why would they be going goody, goody, goody if these guys are up against them?
Well, you can use these arms, you see.
Ah, I see.
So, because they can easily change across. Because they're quite human.
Of course.
And so it's quite easy to do. Now, shotguns, are you don't get many on the sprues apparently on the Astra Militarum sets.
I see.
And you get about 3 in there.
So if you have a friend in need is a friend indeed. With a shotgun hand in hand.
Yes, so shotguns are quite good in the game.
Right.
So yeah, they're really good choice.
Try to get into this other box.
So we're looking into the acolytes, aren't we?
The acolytes, okay.
And the metamorphs
again
is the alternative.
Good book to detail how to open it. This is his box, and I'm opening it. Woo! Right. And yes, again,
much bigger models.
A very detailed sprue.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Yes.
Much bigger models.
And more armies.
Ones. Yes.
And again, quite a lot of heads. But these heads, they all tend to be more Gene Stealer heads.
Yeah, these are the first and second generation ones. The acolytes and the metamorphs, which are some of the heads are specific for the metamorphs, some are specific for the acolytes. Same with the weapons as well. But you can only create 5 models in there, but there's enough parts in there that it's just it's amazing. Yeah, definite conversions can be made with these.
Can you convert some of the arms and stuff onto these guys to make them a different type of unit? Is that possible?
Unfortunately, no. The neophytes, the neophytes are very specific. They're the 3rd and 4th generation of the Tyranids, to the G-Steel cult army, and they're more the human-shaped ones. With the acolytes, they're far more Gene-Stealery. They look more like Gene-Stealers because they got 3 arms, 4 arms as well, and stuff like that. Whereas these are more humanoid.
But is there not a mix in the middle?
There isn't, unfortunately. The actual mix is literally the acolytes themselves. There is another one which models haven't come out yet, apart from in the Death Watch box set, which are the aberrants. The aberrants are hulking, huge monstrosities that have basically something's gone wrong with the whole DNA thing, and they've come out, and you could almost imagine them as like the G-Steel cult version of Ogres.
Hang on a second.
And ogres.
You said something gone wrong, and you start looking at pictures of these guys and say nothing's gone wrong. I'm sorry. Well, that was yeah, okay. Well, genetics and all of that. Right.
Yeah, aberrants, even worse looking than that.
Okay.
Yeah, so aberrants are very powerful, and they are coming out in the next wave alongside the Goliath.
Right. Now, my next question is game. So, when will your army be ready to take on a 1,000-point Space Wolf Invincible? Haven't a clue how to play. Battle of the...
Well, we'll have to see. I want to try and get these sprayed up, prime these up quickly, get them out of their sprues, get them on bases, and see where we can go in regards to painting them. It's taking me a little bit of a while just to paint 5 neophytes at the moment.
It's not like you're doing anything interesting, like doing an old painting tutorial or anything like that. But
no, of course not. So yeah, it's taken me quite a while to do that, and I've just realised recently that I've run out of 2 of the colours, and I've got to get some more. See, this is where GW gets you. Pots, paint, they disappear. They just disappear so fast when you're painting a lot.
Okay. Well, listen, we're going to hold it on that. We'll do a bit of a painting tutorial on these guys, see as we progress, especially as we get some more bits and pieces. And we'll actually do a bat rep on these as well. I think that would be enjoyable. Yeah. Listen, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little video. For the Hobbit players that jumped in to see what's going on, sorry if it's not been your scene, but for everybody else, like, share, subscribe. Please make some comments below. This has, as I said, been a very noobish review of a new book out, and hopefully we'll get more stuff done. Now, because I'm new to the system, or revisiting the system after many years, we may well do a noobish approach on all the other books and other armies as well. If we can get our hands on the books, people out there. But no, seriously, we've got a number of friends there who've plenty of experience of different armies, and we'll take a look. See.
Yes,
so listen,
definitely.
Lovely speaking to you again, guys. And as I said, comment below if you want to keep in touch. And cheers, Aaron.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no problem. Like I say, anything that anybody wants to ask about it, just feel free, and we'll see what we can do.
Fantastic. Okay, bye for now, guys.